In this video, we are going to talk about the basics of sentence diagramming. The first question to ask is, what is sentence diagramming? Well, it's an easier way to identify how the sentence and its parts work together. We sentence diagram because it helps us understand how the parts of speech interact with other parts of speech in a sentence. In every sentence, there's always a subject and a verb, so obviously we have to include our diagram. Our subject is the thing that performs the action, or the doer, and our verb is the action being performed. In the sentence, cats jumped, cats is the subject, and jump is the verb. In order to diagram a subject and a verb, our subject always goes on the upper left blank, and our verb always goes on the right blank. This is created with a table with two lines. If we use the sentence from before, cats jump, cats will go on the upper left blank, and jump will go on the upper right blank. Now to compound subjects and verbs. Compound subjects and compound verbs occur when more than one subject or verb is present in a sentence. An example would be, kittens and cats run and jump. There are two subjects, kittens and cats, and there are also two verbs, run and jump. You also need to know what a conjunction is. A conjunction is a word that connects other words and phrases together. When we are using compound subjects and compound verbs, and will usually be the conjunction that connects the two together. We diagram compound subjects and compound verbs by creating one line for each subject and verb on opposite sides. We connect them to a central line in the middle, which separates the subject and verb. These are connected with two diagonal lines, and then there are two dotted lines as well, one on each side. Inside of this area, the conjunction will be placed. Let's use the same sentence from before. Kittens and cats run and jump. Our first subject is kittens because it occurs first in the sentence. Our second subject is cats because it is the second thing that performs the action in the sentence. The conjunction and connects kittens and cats. Run is our first verb because it is the first action in the sentence. And jump is our second verb because it is the second action being performed in the sentence. Run and jump are both connected by the conjunction and as well. Now to adjectives and articles. Both adjectives and articles are treated the same in sentence diagramming because they both modify nouns. Adjectives modify nouns by answering the following questions: what kind, how many, or which one. Articles simply specify nouns. Articles are very easy to identify because there are only three that exist in the English language: a, an, and the. Articles and adjectives are diagrammed by going on a diagonal line that comes off of the word it modifies. Sometimes more than one adjective can modify the same word, so two diagonal lines will be present. Let's try some examples. The cat jumps. Let's start with our subject. Our subject in this sentence is cat because it performs the action. Our verb in this sentence is jumps because it is the action being performed. The article the specifies cat, so it will come on a diagonal line off of cat. Let's do another sentence. Orange cats jump. The subject is the same, cats, because it performs the action, and our verb jump is our action in this sentence. The word orange modifies cat by describing what kind of cat. Now, diagramming direct objects. Direct objects are nouns that directly receive the action of the verb. And the reason I have directly in bold and underlined is because there are such things as indirect objects and we don't want to get them confused. An example could be the cat kicked the yarn. The yarn directly receives the action of the cat, or the kicking, so it will be the direct object in our sentence. Direct objects are diagrammed on the same line as the verb, but they have a separating line in between them as well. Let's do an example. The cat kicked the yarn. We always want to start with our subject. Our subject in this sentence is cat because it performs the action. Our verb in this sentence is kicked. Our direct object, as we already discussed, is yarn because it directly receives the kicking action. Now we have two articles in our sentence. The specifies cat, and the also specifies yarn. In the previous examples, we've learned how to diagram subjects, compound subjects, verbs, compound verbs, adjectives, articles, and direct objects. Let's try and combine what we've learned. Our first review sentence will be, the orange kittens and yellow cats kicked and scratched the yarn. In this sentence, we have two subjects, kittens and cats. So we have a compound subject. But we also have a compound verb because we have two actions, kicked and scratched. So let's start with that. Our first subject is kittens. Our second subject is cats. They both perform the action in our sentence. Our two actions in the sentence are kicked and scratched. Both the two verbs and the two subjects are connected with the conjunction and. So we'll put that in our little triangle. Now we need to identify our direct object. Because one direct object receives the two actions, we actually have the verb line coming back into a diagonal. Our direct object in this sentence is yarn because it directly receives both actions of kicking and scratching. Now we need to identify our adjectives and articles. Let's start from the beginning. Our first article is the, and it specifies kittens. Orange also modifies kittens by specifying what type it is. Yellow modifies cats by stating what kind of cat, and the specifies yarn. Let's do one last review. We have one subject in this sentence, dogs, but we have two verbs, so we have a compound verb, but only one subject. Let's start with our subject. Our subject in this sentence is dogs because they perform the action. The first verb in our sentence is lick because it is the first action being performed. Our second action is chew because it is the second verb. Both lick and chew are connected by the conjunction and in our sentence. Because we have two verbs, two direct objects can be present as well. The direct object that receives the action of licking are the toys, and the direct object that receives the action of the chewing is the bones. Now we've successfully learned to do the basics of sentence diagramming. Even though this is the basics, it is very important to have a good understanding of how to do it in order to move on to more complex diagramming. Knowing how to sentence diagram will help you identify and understand how the parts of speech work together in a sentence. Thank you for watching.